Hello, Internet, and welcome once again to the free-to-play cast, last one for 2016. Woo, the year flew by. I'm Mike Byrne, aka Magic Man, here on behalf of MMObomb.com, your home for all things free-to-play related. Episode 205, we're recording on the 22nd of December, you're watching it on the 23rd, so Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, just have a great holiday season, and if you don't care about any holidays, enjoy some time with family. Hope you got some days off to have some fun here. But while we get started with the news, first let's introduce the co-host today, Mr. Jason Winter. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Last week I tried the full Santa Claus beard. This time I'm just going for the evil scientist.
Yep, people commented looking for the full Santa outfit this week from you.
Yeah, well I got green, no red though, but I've got green at least.
I think you are a bit on the slender side to pull off Santa.
Yeah, probably that.
Just a little bit, by maybe 200 plus pounds. You're not the Santa look.
I want people to leave in the comments. Do you prefer clean-shaven Jason, full Santa Jason, or evil scientist Jason? Which one do you like?
Oh, for God's sakes! Now it's a popularity contest. He's taking beauty tips from YouTube. Also on the line.
Gotta get him somewhere.
Ms. Quinlan Bowers, how are you, Q?
I'm good. I've got my Doctor Who mug of hot chocolate, so I'm good to go.
Where's your beard?
I can answer that so many ways.
Wow. Yeah, okay, moving on. We're going to the news. Oh, my God. What is wrong with you two? It's like hosting a show with 13-year-olds.
What's wrong with her?
First, I'm blushing. First up, Lord of the Rings Online and DDO Dungeons & Dragons Online are leaving Turbine. This kind of just was like, Jason threw the link in the chat, and we were like, whoa, wait, what? What? There wasn't rumors of, what back when Sony did it, right? Sony might be being bought out. This is a company that's looking at them. Oh, they were bought out. Now they're talking about changing names. And no, this was just like, hey, dudes, don't know if you knew, but these aren't ours anymore. They belong to a totally different company. Now, totally different in name, really, in name. The new company that is going to be responsible for both games is called Standing Stone Games. Basically, it's a newly formed, quote, indie game studio. Can you really use the term indie when these are the titles you're taking with you?
Technically, what is indie anymore? Because, I mean,
Right.
If every company is independent of something, right?
Basically, it's a lot of people moving from Turbine to this company, including not just game developers and management and things like that, but I mean, even community people from both titles are sliding over. So it's, quote, new. Standing Stone Games. Now, they're going to be responsible for Dungeons & Dragons Online and Lord of the Rings Online, but they're also moving to a brand new publisher, Daybreak Game Studios. Don't know if you've heard about these guys. They're going to be the publishing team behind both titles. So really just kind of odd, here you go news all of a sudden this week. And it did crack our top 10 news stories for 2016. That's how kind of shocking and out of nowhere it was. So I'm going to go to the LOTRO fan first. I know you haven't played in a while, but you are a big fan of the game. I have been for a while. Give me the pros, the cons, because as a non-player, I look at it and say, well, okay, development-wise, I can't really think much is going to change, and publishing-wise, these games are so old, I mean, what would you really change at this point? But is this good news, bad news? How's the LOTRO and DDO crowds handling it? What do you say, Jason?
I think the good news is that the games are going to keep going, which is different from what's happening to Asheron's Call.
Yeah, other Turbine titles falling by the wayside.
Yeah, Turbine is completely divesting itself of MMOs, which I guess we should have seen coming. We should have thought that something like this would happen when there was that article a while back or interview where they said they were transitioning to a free-to-play mobile development studio or whatever. So on some level, it's not that surprising. It just seems a little out of the blue still, like you said, just coming up, especially the week before Christmas. Thought it was going to be a slow news week, whatever. But in terms of the pro, I mean, I guess it's nice in that you're going to have teams that are really interested in it and are definitely looking to continue it. Whereas at Turbine, you had a lot of different things going on. various other MMOs, various, like I said, the mobile games, or Infinite Crisis or whatever, that sort of stuff going on. But this is going to be just a dedicated MMO studio. So at least they're going to have all their resources devoted straight up to that without worrying about anything else. The con is, of course, they're going to be smaller now. They're not going to have the financial resources of Turbine or WB or anything like that. And they're going to get some help, of course, from Daybreak, but I don't know if they have money yet, but whatever. But yeah, the fact that they're not going to be as big, but on the other hand, they're just not that big of games anymore. It's not like it was 7, 8, 9 years ago. Like you said, when these were fresh and new. Now they're a lot older, a lot more mature. Updates still come out fairly regularly, seem to be of decent quality. I read things occasionally about how they're gotten really grindy and a lot more, hey, don't you want to do the thing in the cash shop instead of, getting the stuff naturally? But probably no worse than you get from any other game of this age and of this caliber at this point. So overall, I mean, I think it's not going to change how things would have been otherwise. Like I said, they're older. They're not bringing a whole lot of money. Turbine / Warner Brothers is looking to get rid of them one way or another. So if they hadn't found this method of doing it, could have been a lot different and a lot worse, I think. Obviously, you'd like to see things stay the same how they've been for a while because you're used to it and it's been all right ever since. But it's probably the best move you could have under the circumstances. It's not like they were going to suddenly get bought up by Blizzard and get millions more fans or anything like that. So it's just what it is, and probably means the games will be about as steady as they ever would have been.
Yeah, I mean, from Turbine's side, or Warner Brothers' side in particular, probably on this one, it kind of makes sense, right? I'm surprised in the respect that they are so old that, what is it really that big of an expense draw to keep it going? If you're making just a little bit of money, okay, well, we're not planning to do anything major with it, so we'll just enjoy a moderate revenue stream or a profit stream off of it. So it kind of struck me by surprise. It wasn't, a game that's a year old that had a huge audience, and we don't have the money or want to sink the money into taking this where it could go, so let's sell it off and make a huge sale. Like, I can't imagine Warner Brothers made a ton of money off of this transaction.
Well, it's still a pretty active development.
Yeah,
I don't follow the DDO much, but I know LOTRO's been getting updates all year long. And, of course, being licensed, they got to pay some of their money to Wizards of the Coast and the Lord of the Rings people. So,
yeah, and that's a whole nother thing is, Mordor next year and what happens then. So it's kind of odd. Even for a company that we saw going mobile. Q, what was your take on it? It just came kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah, it did. Best guess is that they had kind of 3 options with these 2 games, and they just happened, the people that are going to continue to be working on it just got really lucky. Because, if they're purging a lot of their content, it is probably because it's just not generating the revenue, that makes it worth keeping that staff around in the first place. So they could have just completely, killed the games or sold them off to some other company, but instead they, let them go this route where the same people that have been working on the game continue to work on it. I'm a little bit confused, though, about the whole Warner Brothers, not being attached to Warner Brothers thing anymore, because Warner Brothers is the company that owns the Lord of the Rings IP as far as the movies and stuff like that goes.
Nope, not with the movies.
It's not.
That's different.
Money.
Yeah. The actual base Lord of the Rings property is owned by something called the Soul Saints Company,
right?
Which is completely different from and they sell their property to Warner Brothers for the movies, sell to other companies for trading cards or whatever. So yeah, it's not Warner Brothers that owns it.
Okay, yeah. So like I said, it basically comes down to they probably had about 3 options, and the staff or whatever managed to talk them into, hey, let us have the game. So.
Yeah, and you got to go, fuck, I wish that would have happened with some other titles in the past, where the core dev teams that really wanted to keep the Studio of Heroes, keep the titles, and do something with them, you would have liked to have seen this type of deal be worked out, because if the alternative is we're just going to drop it, if something like this might be viable, no matter how small or old the game is, then I would have liked to have seen it. I gotta give a thumbs up to this one, actually. I think it's a good move for Turbine, who has already stated that they want to focus in a different area. And while I could understand maybe keeping these licenses just to have a little bit of a revenue stream from something, if it didn't align with their focus, then that makes sense to me, that this is so out of alignment that we can't do this anymore. We don't want to do this anymore. We're going in a totally different direction. And the people that are really passionate about the project got to keep their jobs, got to move on, got to continue development for the game, and they got a new publisher that I don't think any of us really has a complaint with Daybreak as a publisher, right? Most of it is development oriented right now, isn't it? You know,
for the most part, yeah.
EQ Next and H1Z1 with challenges, and well, the people.
I've even been hearing that PlanetSide 2 has been slipping backwards over the past year.
Yeah, so all in all, I think this one's going to end up being a thumbs up. I just don't know. My only concern, Q, would be how long of a thumbs up for both of these titles, given their ages.
And that's a really good question. I mean, like on the upside, it still comes down to these people that probably would have ended up, you know, just being laid off, at least have their jobs for, you know, a year or two or however long it lasts longer. So there's that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Overall, like you said, in terms of what they were capable of doing, this is probably the best outcome.
Oh, absolutely.
If you're just to be realistic about it, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I got to believe the other alternative is just shut it down. And hell yeah, this is best for players, the devs, and apparently Daybreak thinks that based on the numbers they saw, they can still make some money off of this. So good on them too. So thumbs up from me. I think that's a thumbs up from both of you too on this one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Q's a reasonable thumbs up.
Until they shut it all down next year.
All right, let's do a mini rapid fire round here to cap off the new year, and then we'll finish up with our favorites and maybe not so favorites for 2016, our personal ones. We'll have something on the site this coming week, but our personal ones and kind of what we're looking forward to in 2017. So first off, there is a bit of a kerfluffle on Area Games maybe dropping their responsibilities or their contract with Bless Online coming to the West and to Europe this past week, where, yeah, there was a couple of rumors that Area Games just kind of backed off, and they kind of came from a teaser on the Area site. The game's teaser on Area site disappeared this weekend, and when we wrote the article, it was down, actually. And MMORPG, that site, and Reddit, I mean, they went nuts, saying apparently Area is no longer publishing it. And Q, you had to wade through this. It was, within hours, tons of people commenting on this stuff, particularly on Reddit.
Yeah, it's pretty much the way things always work on the internet, though, right? And specifically Reddit, like something happens and the sky is suddenly falling. So, and I mean, unless the devs come out and specifically tell you otherwise, the sky is falling and it's going to crush you any second.
And that was the other piece of this, Jason, is that in all of this, Area Games did not specifically initially step forward and say anything. Not even, hey guys, no, we'll get back to you on what's going on, but no, we're not. I mean, they just stayed, mum was the word from Area Games, which just further added fuel. Some other sites may not even have caught the update to this. I've seen articles on other sites that didn't even have a follow-up or didn't have an update to the piece, but Area Games did finally say something. Initially to Massively OP, we had inquiries into them too. I'm sure many other sites did as well. And they released this statement, Jason. This maintenance, they said it was just maintenance. Just maintenance that caused this stuff to disappear from the site. This maintenance is due to a migration from a new data center for all our services from game to portal, so there's no need to be worried. It'll improve the experience of the players. However, we are still working on it, and the website will be back online soon. On the side, we are working closely with NeoWiz on the gameplay improvement aimed for the North American and European versions. So Area Games very much still affiliated with NeoWiz to bring Bless Online to the West, Jason.
It reminds me when I sometimes log into Skype and it says, we're upgrading your Skype experience. You're not doing anything.
Not really.
But yeah, I mean... Go ahead.
I was going to say, what's really funny about that? That was actually the first thing. The first time they commented on it wasn't the response to Massively OP or anybody else. They posted it on the Facebook.
Right.
But what I really liked is the skepticism on the part of other writers that this thing posted on the official Facebook site was really from them.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just bizarre, and the whole thing was resolved basically in a day. But I just love stories that take on a life of their own, and we've had quite a few of them this year, and this was definitely one of them. I will tell you though that my favorite comments on the MMO Bomb article is a couple of them that are obviously not very flattering of Area Games. Because our headline was, "Don't worry, Area Games hasn't dropped Bless Online." We did not run with any of this while it was just rumor. We put it up after responses were in and everything, so we had the full story. So the headline read, "Don't worry, Area Games hasn't dropped Bless Online." Favorite comments? "Now I am worried after I read the title." That goes to Rudolph. I mean, that was my favorite comment. And surfing through other sites, Jason, a lot of people kind of echoed that sentiment of, shit, I kind of hoped Area Games was out of the mix.
Maybe Daybreak will get it.
Oh, God. Well, hey, so far none of us are bitching about
still.
them being a publisher, so... you can go play your LOTRO and your Bless Online. So good news there. Bless Online apparently still coming to the West. And good news or bad news, depending on your point of view, also still with Area Games. On the definitely bad news side of things this past week, Crytek cutting 5 studios after pay issues. This isn't, we're going to lay off a couple of people. Crytek is shutting down 5 studios. Now, if you're not familiar with Crytek on the free-to-play side, you might know them from Warface, Q's favorite game title ever. Every time I send her a Warface article, I get a message. I hate this title. It's the dumbest title of a game ever. And initially, Jason and Q, back when we were with Gamebreaker, Crytek, made that huge announcement that, hey, everything we're going to do from now on is free-to-play. Who knows what's going to happen now, whether they're going to jump back into buy-to-plays or things like that. I mean, I would assume they have to. So the studios leaving are Budapest, Sofia, Seoul, Shanghai, and Istanbul, and redirecting its energies. Now, we don't know what's going on as far as whether they're closing the studios, selling the studios, doing something else with them. But they did state that the remaining 2 studios, so they closed 5 out of 7, will be working on premium IPs. Not great news, Q, going into the holiday season.
No, but it also follows, the news that they were initially being sued by one of their staff members failing to pay them.
What was that all about?
One of their staffers, I believe it was a graphics an artist, decided to launch a GoFundMe to sue them because they hadn't paid wages. Like, they had slowed down on the payments, like, back in May, and then as they got closer to October, they just kind of didn't pay, apparently. But it actually reminded me, who was it? Was it a year or 2 ago that just kind of failed to pay everybody on Christmas?
Wasn't that Red 5?
That was Red 5.
It was Red 5.
Yeah.
Completely failed. Like, really good job, guys, failing to pay people around the holidays. That's not going to piss them off at all.
Fine, but to their credit, though, Red 5 and Firefall have had a great year.
Yeah, it was Red 5. Here's our article, Red 5 fails to pay staff on Christmas. So, yeah, oh my God. I'm kind of flabbergasted and trying to wrap my head around, I'm going to sue you and crowdfund my lawsuit. I mean, it's just, damn, the world we live in anymore, Jason, is really, really becoming odd.
By the time I wrote this, that crowdfunding page was gone.
Well, yeah, I could kind of see that maybe crowdfunding sites wouldn't want you to try to be raising money to fund litigation. I'm sure there's 100 other sites people are going to link on the YouTube now of people doing that. Not exactly great news for Crytek people, but hey, I hope they land on their feet very quickly. 5 studios is a huge cut. I remember it was big news to us when Tryon closed, what, 1 studio a while back. So 5 out of 7, that's not good, and it'll be interesting to see what they do going forward, Jason.
Yeah, well, as I was looking at the comments on some of these articles about it, one guy asked, has Crytek put anything else in this Crysis 3? My response was Warface, Rise, Arena of Fate, The Climb VR, Robinson the Journey. And I'm like, I've heard of 2 of those.
I own both of those VR titles.
Okay,
The
well,
Climb and
there you go.
Robinson the Journey.
Someone else mentioned, another article mentions Hunt Horrors of the Gilded Age.
You got me.
It was a 4-player co-op shooter announced in 2014, apparently.
It's a dark fantasy co-op shooter. Oh no, that's Turtle Rock. That's Turtle Rock.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, it's almost, you can almost tell just because all these titles we're mentioning are just either are unknown or something like Rise, which really kind of flopped as an Xbox One launch title.
Yep.
Yeah.
So our hearts go out to all the Crytek employees. And hope you land on your feet soon. Hi-Res is looking for people. I know that off the top of my head.
Daybreak's hiring still.
job openings.
Yeah. What else we got? Oh, this one's gonna piss some people off. This one's gonna piss some people off. So if you bought Ark Survival Evolved a while ago or during any of their funding and stuff, and I've been kind of keeping my eye on it on Steam just to see what's going on with it, because I always hear a lot of the people that paid for it are kind of, while they're maybe enjoying the game, they're getting this sense of maybe the devs don't quite know what they want to do with it at certain times. I mean, we had that whole spin-off into a free-to-play portion of the game that they ended up consolidating back into the game, the Battle Royale portion. And it just kind of seems slapdash sometimes on what we're going to try, what we're going to do. And rightfully so, Jason. I think people that paid for it might get a little miffed at things like that, you know, when you make those decisions after the fact, after the money's collected. But this one's probably going to piss some people off even more. So here's the deal. There's going to be a free-to-play Ark Survival Evolved server in China published by Snail Games, right, Jason?
Sure, why not?
Why not? Let's give it to Snail Games.
Yeah, I mean, so they said the game is going to be different from Ark in terms of business model and some gameplay systems. So, probably some sort of cash shop there. But I don't totally agree with you on this. At least as long as they keep it in China, I don't think it's going to be that big of a contention point for people who've bought Ark in the West, because you don't want to necessarily play on a Chinese server, especially a free-to-play Chinese server where there's going to be who knows how many hacks. There's going to be latency issues. So I think that in terms of what your options are here, I would rather pay the $30 or whatever to get the real Ark and play it on North American or European servers than risk myself on a free Chinese server. So I don't think that aspect of it is too much, unless they actually do decide, hey, this is really good. Let's bring it over to the West and see how it does.
Right, and that's where I mean, it sounds like they're leaving those options open.
Sure.
I mean, their official comment was Ark Survival Evolved Online may not be released in NA or EU, but the game is different to Ark Survival Evolved in business model and some gameplay systems. But then also on the 2P site, it says it's the same game. So it's a bit confusing. In the emails that I received regarding this, when I was chatting with some reps behind it, they thought there's, some NA EU players might enjoy this. So maybe I was getting the impression not going to be region locked or anything. They're going to let anybody come in and play it if they want, which that would irk me as somebody in NAEU that paid. Go ahead, Q.
I did actually see when we were talking about it and I was looking around and stuff, people commenting on, it might have been on 2P's posts or something, but the first thing asked was, is it going to be available in English?
Yeah.
So there are definitely people, and I mean,
sure.
There were games that I played on the Chinese servers, at least to play the betas until they appeared in the U.S. So it's not like Western gamers are opposed to playing on Chinese servers. They just usually pick a server that other Americans are going to be on, or other Westerners are going to be on, and they play it there. So, I mean, if you can get on without it being region locked, yeah, that might be a little irritating to everybody who actually paid.
Jason just thinks everybody should shut up.
Yeah.
Stop whining. Stop whining and get off my lawn.
Hey, you bought it, your problem.
But I agree with you. It's like what are they trying to do with this game?
Yeah.
Like,
We've now seen it as a buy-to-play game, as a free-to-play battle royale spin-off that was taken from the buy-to-play game and made free, then consolidated back into the game, even though the initial comments were these were two different development teams, it's not going to take resources, and then, well, we're just going to consolidate it. Now partnering with Snail Games for a free-to-play version in parts of the world. I can sympathize with people that love the game saying, God, I just wish I knew what the devs' plan for this game was.
like, finishing it. It's probably still in early access, I bet.
I'm typing as we speak. Go ahead, Q. You were saying no something? It is still in early access.
Yeah.
It is still in early access. I wonder what they changed will be priced differently. Yes, the game will be lower priced through early access relative to its full final retail price. So no mention.
Discounted right now. Steam sale's up. It's only $11.99.
Yep. And the thing is, the game, I mean, the people that, if you enjoy the survival type game, the people that play it, it gets good reviews. Mm-hmm. It's not like you're dealing with a shitty game or something like that. And that's not people's problem with it. People's problem with it is sometimes it seems like maybe the direction of the game is kind of question marked at any given point. All right, so before we slide over to the weekly bombs, let's wrap up 2016. Again, no show next week, the week in between Christmas and New Year's. We will see you the first week of January 2017. We will not have a free-to-play weekly this weekend. We will have one New Year's Eve for you as well. So we kind of spaced out the video content, so you get the free-to-play cast this week, but no weekly. No cast next week, but you do get weekly. So everybody got their own little times off to be with family and friends for the holidays here. So before we wrap it up, I want to go through and maybe hear from each of us the game that 2016 really, was good for you and what you're looking forward to in 2017. And we're not going to put any flags or rules on this, on it has to be launched, it has to be in beta. The only rule we'll put on is if you were able to get your hands on it in some fashion this year, count it as a 2016 game. So if you played Revelation Online, you can go ahead and say it was the game you enjoyed most for 2016, even though it technically doesn't come out till next year. For the next year, 2017 titles, it's got to be a game that we haven't been able to get our hands on yet. Something coming in some form next year. Why don't we start with you, Jason?
Well, if we're going to go outside, do we still have to stick to free-to-play?
Well, of course.
Of course, okay. Well, I was going to say, if not, then I played a ton of Overwatch this year. But anyway, outside of that, I think what really surprised me was how much I got into World of Warships, at least in the early part of the year. You know how much I was playing that and tweeting it out all the time and streaming it and so on. Really surprised at how much I dug that. After trying it for a little bit during the beta around early launch, middle part of last year. But that was my go-to game for a good solid 3 or 4 months around the first part of the year. Later in the year, when I kind of got out of that, I was actually, again, surprised by how much I enjoyed Elder Scrolls Legends, which, despite being pretty Hearthstone-y in a lot of ways, had enough different little quirks to it. Really loved their arena mode. I think it's better than the way Hearthstone does theirs, so definitely got into that a lot more. But then kind of got out of that a little bit, and then got into something I had no idea I would like at all, and that would be Tree of Savior, which I played for only a few weeks with my girlfriend, and then she kind of got out of it a bit, so I haven't jumped back in. But I actually enjoyed just going around and hacking and slashing and seeing my numbers go up. Every now and then, you just need a little bit of that, I guess. You're kind of turn off the brain game and just kill stuff and get loot sort of game. So something I'm going to look into maybe a little bit more of this later this year, or next year, rather. But I do recall, I think someone had I don't remember if it was a dub bomb or an A bomb, and they were talking about Tree of Savior. They're like, man, this game is buggy, and it's laggy, and the servers are bad. And he came with all these complaints. He's like, man, I love it, and I just want to keep playing. That's kind of how I feel. It's really it's really shitty in a lot of ways. I rubber band all the time in that game. It's just awful. So, but whatever. Fun little game to turn your brain off every now and then and just hack and slash and kill. So those are kind of my 3 for 2016 that got me gave me some enjoyment.
What are you looking forward to next year?
I have to say the only thing I'm doing like the top 10 list of games for next year. The only one that I really am interested in, being me, of course, is Total War Arena, which I got to play a good amount in the beta for. Really liked it, and every now and then I've been playing a lot more of Total War Attila. I got back into that a few months ago, playing a bunch of that. And every now and then I'm like, gee, I wish I just had an online multiplayer version of this. Oh, there is one. Oh, they're still closed it off. They stopped the beta back in March, and I haven't been able to get into it yet. And I want to get back into that. So yeah, that's the thing I'm hoping that I'll get to play a good deal of in 2017.
All right, Q. 2016.
Okay, so I should probably preface this by saying that the way this year has been, I really haven't, really gotten into a lot of games. There was the whole month where my computer was in the trunk of a car while I was living in a tent, and then I was in a motel that had, really crappy internet service. But obviously the one that I would have to pick out that I think did really well for me, and it's mostly just because I really like collecting mounts and stuff, was Riders of Icarus. And it's not, like, as far as, like, the gameplay and all of that, it's not anything special. It's not really any different than anything else, but I get to collect mounts, so that makes me happy. I also actually, I don't know if you guys have heard of this one or not. It's like a little indie thing, and I actually wrote an interview for Game Skinny when I was still over there. I interviewed the developer for it, and it will be free to play, but it's in the whole early access thing now. But it's called Stash. It's a turn-based MMO that's actually kind of neat. I didn't get to spend that much time in it because it was like in super early alpha, but it is neat, and I'm kind of just kind of keeping an eye on that to see how it does. I like the idea.
I've never heard of it. I'm looking at it on Steam right now. It was the winner of the Taco Bell Feed the Beta Best Indie Game competition.
I mean, it's interesting. It's one of those things that I can't say yet whether it's like actually a really good game or not, because there was just so much stuff you couldn't do yet.
Well, there are 36 positive reviews.
Well, 36 reviews total, 83% of them positive. So,
that being said, because of the whole, not really being able to, I don't think there's anything that I really hated this year.
And it's not free to play.
I spent the first half of the year like playing mobile games for Game Skinny.
Oh, that's right. You were doing all those guides.
Yeah, God. I did kind of hate all of that. I don't know. Nothing's like jumped out and bit me for 2017 yet, unfortunately.
2016, I'm gonna go with Cloud Pirates, actually. And I wanted to go with Revelation Online, but it just didn't do it for me. Closed beta 2 or 3, whatever it is, just started a day or so ago, and hopefully that'll be a little different. I know a lot of the localization has been updated there, but it just didn't grab me yet. I still hold hope for that one, but we'll see. But Cloud Pirates really surprised me. It is the endgame portion of the airship combat from Alids. I mean, a lot of those assets are just reused from Alids Online. And I didn't think I was going to like it. I thought this was going to be more Jason's cup of tea as far as aerial combat or ship-based combat. And it's very traditional in your maps and your modes and things like that, with a few little unique twists. And they just started another beta phase. Beta 3 is coming, I think, tomorrow. And lots of customization options. The crew stuff has been added in there as well. I really enjoyed it and played quite a bit of it, and it wasn't terrible at it even, so maybe that added to it, but it kind of surprised me. So that was my big personal surprise for 2016, was how much I enjoyed Cloud Pirates. And we'll just have to watch the monetization model, since going through my.com and everything. As far as 2017, I want to say Peria Chronicles. But, we don't have a official Western release confirmed for it yet, so that's kind of like, in my Phantasy Star Online 2 area. I don't know.
Good, you brought it up. I didn't have to.
I don't know if it'll ever, if I'll ever get a chance to play a localized version of it, but, without having to, the third-party program the hell out of it. So Peria Chronicles, we'll put that in there. What else for 2017? I guess I'm looking forward to Bless. I mean, I'm not... oh my god, it's gonna be amazing and change things. No, it's... I was probably more excited for Blade and Soul at the time of Blade and Soul's release, which I guess is another 2016 good thumbs up for me. But I'm not as pumped for Bless, but I am still looking forward to it. So we'll put those two as my 2017. So make sure in the comments below you let us know what you liked in 2016, what maybe surprised you in 2016, and what you're looking forward to in 2017. On our side, we'll do the weekly bombs. All right, I'm going to go first. Dub bomb to another great year. Love the MMO bombers that not only watch the cast every week religiously, but also come to the website and do the giveaways and the first looks and give the feedback, whether you agree with us or disagree with us or you think something can be done better. We read it all. We take it all to heart. As long as you're not being a dick, if you're criticizing, and that's important. So thank you all. We love you. We love you. We love you. Dub bomb to you guys and gals, and hope you have a great holiday season and a great kickoff to 2017 when we'll see you next for the free-to-play cast. Q.
I'm actually going to give a dub bomb to finally almost being out of this crap fest of a year. Because she woke up angry and she stayed that way the entire time. And I'm really hoping that 2017 is a much cheerier year. Yeah, she just wakes up in a really good mood.
We lost a lot of really important people this past year. Although the one that I was kind of like, really, I saw a headline for Zsa Zsa Gabor's death. And they were like, oh, angry 2016, you took Zsa Zsa Gabor. And I was like, she was 99. This was not 2016's fault.
She had a good long run. I mean, I suppose she could have hit the 102 mark or something maybe, but she had a good long run.
Yeah, I mean, okay, 2016, yeah, let's blame the year for Billy Idol and Alan Rickman and people that we did not expect to be shuffling off the mortal coil so quickly. But really, she was 99, well, okay. I mean, she had a great, long life. I hope I live half that, for crying out loud.
Yes. Actually, was anybody certain she was still alive?
Yeah, she was looking a bit dicey there for a while. Jason, go ahead.
I'm going to give an A-bomb to Windows 10. I finally had to get rid of it. I installed it, a couple weeks before the free thing ran out. And just from like 12 days in, my computer just started freezing up randomly. Did that. I tried everything. I tried changing every bit of software. I tried messing with hardware. Nothing. So finally, just this last week, I said, screw it. Downgraded back to Windows 7.
Wow.
Actually, I figured out the Windows 10 free, slowing down, locking up thing. It does that when it wants you to actually restart for updates.
I restart every day.
It's forcing you to do the updates.
Yeah, sure, right.
Yeah,
I wish it was that easy.
I can't complain about Windows 10. Now it'll break as soon as we're done with the free-to-play cast here that I've said that. But knock on wood, I can't complain about it. I've enjoyed it. I mean, it had that in one of those recent updates. It had a memory leak issue, but I fixed that, and I can't complain. From the viewers, Breckner Catalan says, respect from Romania. Shout out to Romania. A-bomb to Marvel Heroes for not listening to the community on movement, powers, cooldowns, and turning the fast-paced game into a slugfest. So not amused with Marvel Heroes updates. Go ahead, Jason.
Lucivex Treasure says, dub-bomb to Heroes of the Storm once again. Ragnaros came out just this week, and he was so fun, the hubby and I both wanted to buy him. I should explain, in our group of 3 that plays together, we have a rule that no one buys the same hero, so we have our own niches, and so there's never an issue whoever gets to play what. This is the first time we've had the issue of 2 people wanting the same hero. In the end, I let the hubby take him and opted to try out a hero I hadn't played in a while to see if I wanted him. Zeratul is mine now, and amazingly, I wasn't the floor ornament for most of the match. In fact, I topped hero damage. Yay, Team Squishy.
All right, nice job. And you gave the hubby Ragnaros. That's sweet. That's sweet. Merry Christmas to Elusive X Treasure's hubby. Now you don't have to get him anything, and just look at him for the next year and say you got Rag. You got Rag.
That's
Go ahead, Q.
The Blackwood, I think, but of course it's speculation. You got the story about the guy that spent 1 million on that strange game wrong. I think chances are high that he was addicted to the game before he did the stealing, because of game addiction often makes people do criminal stuff because it's expensive. But then the question is, why did he not spend all of it on that or other games? So maybe I'm wrong. I also find it funny that such people go to jail, but the bank manager did not. They get golden handshakes, so of course he has to get some penalty. But has it really been, especially a long prison sentence? Who do you help with that? Did the game company get the money back that he took? Did he endanger somebody with death or something? So again, of course, you have to give some penalty, but I don't think it should be a typical draconic American sentence. Also, it's even worse. It does not help anybody that he goes to prison every day. The more he stays in prison, he learns to be a real brutal criminal more. The chances that he will come back to being productive, or at least not damaging a member of society, goes down with every day he stays in prison.
You roboted out something fierce on that last sentence. I don't know why. Yeah, it's definitely a good point, and a nice commentary there on the American criminal justice system. I'm sure you're not going to get too many. Yeah, I'm sure you're not going to get too many complaints or pushbacks from anybody on this show. However, I like the speculation initially, Jason, on maybe he was addicted to this game and that led to it. If we go that way, it wasn't this particular game. It couldn't have been. He would have had to have carried his addiction from a different game into this one. Because we know for a fact that he had been embezzling for a little over 5 years, and Game of War has only been out for 3 years. So
yeah, well, I'm actually trying to look through the statement, but I'm pretty sure it said that he took $4.8 million and spent $1 million of it on this. So I think he actually did take that exact money and spend it here, but I'd have to find that.
What else? Slash Coon says, "Da bomb for Nexon GT Company Limited for listening to the Fantasy War Tactics community about the problems we have. I don't think I have ever seen a sentence in my entire MMO adult life that has said Nexon, listening, community, problems we have, and been arranged in a positive manner. So hell, Slash Coon, congratulations. You thank the lucky MMO stars on that one. Go ahead, Jason.
Da bomb to Final Fantasy 15 for resurrecting the withered corpse that the franchise became after Final Fantasy 10. Wow, not a fan of 11 or 14, apparently.
Or 12 or 13, since 15 is the single player. I'm enjoying it too, Kinetic Fetus. I'm so far removed from the story. I've got caught up in side stuff for.
And look, I know it was doofy in a lot of ways, but 10-2 was actually pretty good for gameplay. I'm just saying.
All right, go ahead, Q.
Michael Lewis L. Da bomb to Turtle Rock for getting a game they want to make. Coming from a game designer in the making in Austin, Texas, I had to recreate a Monopoly-esque game for my degree and make 40% of it or so-called demo by the end of the semester. I hated scripting it. If I was working on something else, I could have pried in it and not been forced to make it. I do believe they do well unless they're making Evolve 2.0. I do remember going to South by Southwest, and Evolve, before it went free to play, was on the free usable computers. I watched someone play and just wasn't my thing. I cringed at it by the way they hyped the game. It would be like Gears of War mixed with the Firefly game. Firefly? I forgot the game's name, the one that laid out everything for Thanksgiving.
Is that Firefall?
Firefall, maybe? Yeah. I think that's what he means.
He actually wrote, this wasn't me, he actually wrote Firefly game.
Yeah, he says Firefly there.
Yeah, it's Michael questioning what the game is, not Q.
Right.
Well, Michael, I think you're referring to Firefall.
Well, they're both pretty much canceled, not too far into their runs. So, yeah.
I watch every show, and last episode I wanted to give Q a da bomb for not getting involved. She just shook her head and laughed at you too. Zach does have a mic. We do have to listen to it, even if we don't agree with him.
Pshaw.
Okay, this is 2016 America. You don't listen to the other side's opinion. Just shout them down.
Yeah, Michael, there's definitely something to be said for working on something you enjoy. What's that old saying? If you enjoy what you do for work, then it's not work. Something like that. Parallel 45 da bomb for HP, MT, MO, CO, FPSs. Oh, and sparkling cider. So throw back to last week's episode on what we were going to call Turtle Rock's new genre, their game's genre, and Zach drinking from a wine bottle. Question of the week last week. What are your thoughts on Turtle Rock's new project and publishing partner, and any guesses on what Hi-Rez has in store next? Hellsworth says, about Hi-Rez, I call it on an ARPG. I don't see them jumping directly to an MMORPG right now. There's a new trend of ARPGs coming out this year. Mu Legends, Lineage Eternal, Lost Ark. Lost Ark and Lineage Eternal, yes, those are ones I'm looking forward to as well. Probably the most wanted, and a 65-people crew should be about the right size for that. Although this does not make sense from a revenue point of view, because for this to be more of a cash grab, they'd need to go mobile again. This does make sense for their studio portfolio broadening in order to build up more gaming audience. As for Turtle Rock's IP, it's all really thin, but co-op, dark fantasy, first-person shooter, and action equals Hell Raid, but online? One can hope. So Hellsworth chiming in there. I would not disagree with anything that Hellsworth said there.
Yeah, I didn't think of ARPG.
I didn't either.
It's something else that's sort of out there now.
I didn't either. Go ahead, Jason.
Deathlock says, I told you months ago they would find a way to screw its Evolved players. Rip Evolved. As to what Turtle Rock is working on with Perfect World, probably a co-op hero shooter with MMO elements or some shit. As far as Hi-Rez, I don't play any of their games, so I don't give a damn what they do. Deathlock, we're glad you chimed in and let us know you don't give a damn.
Yeah, that's Jason's boy, Deathlock, right there. I'm not surprised by any of that. Deathlock, Merry Christmas. Go ahead, Q.
All right, Michael again. Hi-Rez still hasn't made a survival sandbox game yet either. Point of order on all of these things, though. Having spoken with the Hi-Rez people a lot, their primary objective is to make things they can turn into esports. So that's really what they shoot for. Although they do have a mobile department, so, and their mobile game they even want to make esports.
Well, what about
that was my guess, that they were going to make a second mobile game. That was my guess.
That's like a battle royale game if you want to go the survival mode, sort of.
Possibly, yeah. But anything they make, they want it. Their focus is competitive.
Well, yeah, that's what I said. I mean, it can be competitive.
Question of the week for, well, 2 weeks. Since we're off next week and we'll kick it off with a new episode in the new year, let us know what gaming goodies you gave or received this holiday season as a gift. And tell us, if you loved it, you hated it, if the person you gave it to loved it, hated it, give us all the info. Make sure when you're down there, you leave your weekly bombs, D bomb for something good, A bomb for something bad in the world of gaming. If you've got questions for the panel, throw them there. We'll answer them whether they're gaming related or not. There's been some oddball questions asked and answered on this show over the years. Until next time, Jason, where can everybody find you?
I mean, the Twitter is at Winter Informal. Find me streaming twitch.tv/JasonWinter.
Q.
I might actually start tweeting more again now. But anyway, at Quitland.
You're on Twitter?
I know, right? It doesn't seem like it anymore, does it?
I'm Mike Byrne, aka Magic Man, and you can follow me there on Twitter at MagicMan1, MAGICKMANN1. Of course, while you're there, hit the @FollowMMO bomb and follow all the news we've got there. Happy holidays. We'll see you in 2017, and until next time, stay safe. We'll see you on the servers.